Hey, I'm Western Jaguar, and today we're going to look at 3 of my favorite free plugins that I believe every producer who's working in a home studio should download immediately. I use these in all of my productions. Let's not waste any time and let's get into the first plugin. Today we're going to be using my song Pity Party, which came out a few weeks ago, as the reference track for these plugins. If you're interested in listening to it, you can find it on any streaming services. The first plugin I want to talk about is the Tal Course LX. So the Tal Course LX is a free plugin from Tal, and to me it is the best course plugin out there. I've tried some other course plugins that are paid plugins. Nothing comes close to touching this plugin. It's unbelievable. It reminds me, and it's based off of the courses that you find on like Juno synths. The example in this song is I'm using it on the electric guitars here. If we take the Tal course off here, I'm just gonna bypass it for a second. Let's just hear what those guitars sound like as they are. Sounds good. It's a very cool guitar take. Shout out to my friend Lowercase Dream for recording this. But I felt it was just missing something in the entire mix. If we play it all as a full mix, never pick up the phone. The truth is that it's just not hitting how I kind of want it to. That's where the Tal course comes in. Instantly, this makes it wider. First of all, this stereo width knob is magical, what you can do with it. I always keep it dimed for instruments I want to feature, but if it's something you don't want to feature as much, you can definitely dial it back. Awesome, really pulls things out. Dry wet, again, I usually keep it around this area here, but again, you can go completely dry or you can make it fully wet, which again is awesome. Your volume, and then there's 2 different course modes here. I'm using the first one here, so we'll listen to that first on the guitar. Immediately, just so much better. This is with the second mode, which I don't use as often. It's a little faster rate. And then you can also stack them. But I still love just that plain, that number 1. Oh, I go to it all the time. So if you do not have this plugin, I highly suggest you download it. I'll put the link below. The link for all the plugins will be below in the description of the video. Number 2, the second free plugin that we're going to look at today is something I'm using on the bass guitar here. This is from the folks over at Slate, and it is called Heatwave. Essentially, it just adds some saturation. It's very similar to if you've used Soft Tube Saturation Knob, or if you've used Little Magma from Waves. That was also a free plugin at one time. Saturation Knob I do use a lot. Heatwave, though, there's something about it on bass guitar, and that's what I'm using it for on this song. As you can see, it's on my bass bus here, and I'm just adding a little bit of grit. It's this crispy setting, and it just kind of hits the bass in a really nice way. So I'll let you hear it first without anything on. Fun little bass part for sure, but if we activate it, just adds that little bit of crispy top end that just kind of pulls the bass out, which is super cool. So in the context of the whole mix, sounds like this. I'm scared, but not of the real things. Not crashing and burning, see that doesn't haunt me. Very, very, very cool. So that is Heatwave by Slate. And when you're also on the Slate website, I highly suggest you check out their other plugin that's free, Fresh Air, which is another one I use all the time. There's a bonus free plugin for you. I'll put both those links down below. The third and final free plugin I want to touch on is from Analog Obsession. Now, Analog Obsession is well known in the free plugin community. They do put their plugins up by donation if you want to throw them a little bit of money for the great work they do. So the plugin I'm going to talk about here is one I used a lot on this mix, which is the Tree Q. And the Tree Q plugin, I just find is so great for sculpting sounds when you're mixing. It's not a soloing plugin. Again, you're not supposed to mix things in solo anyway. So here I got some acoustic guitars. Let's just listen to them solo first with the Tree Q off. They sound all right to me, but in the mix, I noticed there's just some mud. It was kind of competing with some other instruments.
I'm scared of the mundane, like spending a day working and trying to make it through the day.
Which is where this Tree Q comes in. You're able to go in and find specific frequencies and clean them up. So here I got about 120 hertz. I'm getting rid of some of that boominess that again was just clashing, about 5 dBs. Again, some muddiness around the 400, 450 range. I find that especially in this room recording acoustic guitars. So I'm cutting another 3.5 dBs there, boosting a little bit of the presence around 6K, and then boosting some around 12K just to add a little bit of sparkle on the top. And it's amazing once you turn this on how much better this just sits in the mix.
No, I'm scared of the mundane.
Simple, but it's so effective. And you know what? We got a little bit of time. I'm going to show you one quick fourth bonus free plugin, again from Analog Obsession. This is one I always use on my buses. It's called the Buster SE. It's based off an SSL channel strip. It just glues everything together so nicely. You got your threshold, your makeup gain, the attack, which again on a bus, I'm normally around 1 millisecond. Again, it's personal preference. Release is a little bit slower. Ratio I usually keep down low. And then I will mix the wet dry depending on what I'm trying to gain out of the compression. If it's on a bus, I'm usually going to run it 100% wet. But again, if I turn this off, if we listen to the whole song together here, it just loses a little bit of that tightness that it has. So here's it with it off.
Mouth is a weapon. People always ask why I never pick up the phone. The truth is that
But once we activate it, everything tightens up.
mouth is a weapon. People always ask why I never pick up the phone. The truth is that
Can't go wrong with Analog Obsession. Again, this is the Buster SE. So those are 3, well actually 5 free plugins with the 2 bonuses that I think everyone who is a home producer should own. If you have other free plugins you think I should check out, maybe drop them down in the comments below. And again, if you want to download any of these plugins I talked about, all the links are in the description for this video. Thanks for checking this out. Hope you find these plugins useful, and best of luck with your mixes moving forward. Let that creativity flow, and we'll see you in the next one.